compulsions were mainly about security, lots of locking, lots of checking of locks. I was always checking taps, making sure the tap wasn't dripping. Everyone kind of bandies it around and people always go, "You're so OCD," but it's a really horrible thing to go through. I don't think people are educated to how much it can fuck up people's lives.
My rituals were different. Washing my hands was 3 times. Having a shower was each part of my body 3 times, but I had to do it 7 times, all over.
You were very clean, though.
Yes. I would spend 2 hours trying to lock the back door, the front door, the windows. We'd be in bed and I'd say to him, "Can you just check the doors and windows again?" And he'd say, "I've already done that." And I'd say, "If you love me, you'll check it again."
And I did.
He did. He was very good.
Good numbers were 4, bad numbers were 6. I knew what I was doing wasn't normal behaviour. I didn't want anyone to see it. It'd be, in my head a lot of the time. Also, just at school, drinking water from the tap, I'd make sure I'd take 20 swallows of water or 24 swallows. It was just, then I'd have to do it again just because that was a bad number. I'd have waves of anxiety coming at me more frequently and harder until eventually I got in so deep that the more I struggled against it, I essentially was drowning.
Someone who's really living in the midst of OCD are living in hell. The thought came that if I didn't do all these things perfectly, somebody in my family would die.
You know how sometimes a light switch goes halfway, and I always had to make sure that it was perfectly one way or the other. Otherwise, I would assume that somehow the wiring would catch on fire and everybody inside my house would burn to death. It's all like a bargaining system. It's this weird kind of perverse bargaining system where your mind has control over you and it's like you must do this inane task in order for you not to commit something terrible.
There's nothing wrong with my mind. It's a biological condition that generates this anxiety. So I always had a rational sense that what I was doing was baseless. It's just that the anxiety clouded all that. It was really hard to access and put faith and belief in that rational thinking.
By this time, I was sitting at home and Dennis used to have to shower me, dry me and dress me because if I showered wrong, somebody would die. If I got dry wrong, somebody would die. Every time I woke up of a morning, I'd start to cry because I'd think, it all starts again.
Here we go again.
Yep. I really didn't think that me not straightening a pen would cause somebody to die, but I wasn't going to take that chance. So I did the things. And then the more you do them, the more you have to do them because it makes it real.
It's kind of like your mind is holding you hostage and it's like, well, you have to go back and read this paragraph 5 times or else it's going to make you do all these terrible, terrible things that you just go, OK, I'll do this. I'll do anything to stop myself becoming a monster. The worst thought that I had was about killing my mum. I read an article about a boy who murdered his mother. That's what planted the seed in my head. And it was utterly the most terrifying thought that I'd ever had. It just I spiraled completely out of control internally, but externally, I couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't let anybody know because I was scared that they were going to lock me away. I lived my life in fear for a good, 3 or 4 months. But I kind of came to the conclusion that if I didn't do something about it, then I was going to end up killing myself.
Don't like that one. Treatment's hard because they're asking you to confront things that you fear, but it's so worth it to get your life back.
It's going to be like that, isn't it?
Yeah, just do your worst.
I was kind of worried that I'd go to the therapist and be like, well, I'm having all these terrible thoughts about murdering my mother. And she'd be like, well, you're just insane. She made me act out the thoughts. It was really crazy to have to sneak into her office with an air knife. I was not dealing with that well. I was 16 at the time. I was just like, I just want to get married to Taylor Hanson. I don't want to have to deal with any of this stuff. So yeah, I'd have to come in and be like, ugh, and I couldn't do it. I physically couldn't do it, but that was great because that was so confronting. That was a great way for her to reveal that I wasn't capable of committing the thoughts that I was telling myself that I could.
I remember one night sitting on the floor in the lounge room at his feet, just saying, just check the door once, please, just once, and crying. And he just said, I'm not allowed to.
It was heartbreaking a little part for me because I could see her suffering and I wanted to help her, but it was very hard just not to do it, you know, sort of try and help her. What do they call it? Tough love? And
really tough.
Very tough, but it worked.
I don't think you fully ever get over it, because it's not like getting the chicken pox and you have it once and you get it out of your system. It's a chemical malfunction and you live with that for the rest of your life. You just learn how to deal with it better.
That's what I do. Turn off taps. Save water, Australia.
I've slowly learnt to rewire my brain a bit. The medication just takes the edge off the anxiety so that I can deal with the thoughts better. I'm not yet, but I feel pretty good about where I'm at.
I realised that everyone has their own case of fucked upness. It's just a matter of being honest about it.
No, my housemates don't know about it at all. Nobody at work knows about it at all. People might be about to find out, and I'm not too fussed about that. You know, it's certainly a big part of who I am. I want a positive message out there for people. I want them to know that it's completely manageable.
There's no shame in going to therapy. There's no shame in asking for help, and there's no shame in having OCD.